Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we are updating my reading journal with the books I read in May, and I have to say it wasn't the best reading month for me, but oh well. So let's do as I did in the previous month, and that's going to be flipping through the initial pages and let the rating spaces empty until after I do my book spreads, because I'm using a new rating system called the Pitch System made by Erin Smith, a fellow YouTuber. I'll link it down below so she can explain it better. So, the books that I read this month were The Sweetest Oblivion by Danielle Laurie, which I gave 4 stars, Fiery Little Thing by Avina St. Graves, which I gave 3 stars, and My Brutal Beast by Melissa Cummins, which I gave 3.5 stars. Here on my bingo, I checked out 2 boxes, the book with the heart on the cover, that's for The Sweetest Oblivion, that has the heart in the playing card, and flower on the cover, that's for My Brutal Beast. On the right side, I added Long Island, New York to my book places, that's for The Sweetest Oblivion, if I'm not mistaken. Let's move on to the book series, and I have to add the Mate series, which The Sweetest Oblivion is the first book, and the other 2 books that I read are standalones, so I don't have to add any more series on this spread for now. I seriously need to finish some of this series before starting more because I'm running out of space. But I'm making progress, so on the next reading journal, I'm sure the number will be reduced. We are now updating the reading log, but we are leaving the rating column empty for now, and then we're coming back in the end to finish it. And while I'm doing this summary of each book, I'll talk a little bit about this month's reads. First, it was a very difficult month to read because I actually didn't read for a week, because I read at night right before bed because I don't have time to read during the day. So when I started reading Fire Little Thing, I literally fell asleep while reading one page. So I just decided to take a few days off and I went to see Tate McRae in Lisbon. It was awesome, and that helped a lot to take my mind off things. And then when I came back, I went to sleep early, and that helped a little bit more. But since I didn't really love Fire Little Thing, that was the major book during the month, it was more difficult to make progress on it, but we made it. The Sweetest Oblivion I actually started in April, so it was easier to finish, and My Brutal Beast is a novella with 77 pages, but it still took me 4 days to finish it, so that says a lot. And a little off topic, but I think this new system is actually helping me be more critic about my ratings on the books, and I love it because I used to give my ratings based on if I liked it or not, and now I think more about it. Moving on to my Year of Goober challenge, I chose The Sweetest Oblivion for the prompt of May, which was a 5-star prediction, at least the one that I chose, and the flower for that was Hawthorn, which means hope. The book wasn't a 5 stars, but it was only a prediction. And now let's make my makeover spread. I didn't know what theme to do, So I had this bundle from Runamareuty. It's called Renaissance Fire Witch. It's from her Patreon. And I thought, since I read a book that's literally about fire and the other had some red on it because of the roses, it would be fun to kind of make a theme about those books, even though I didn't love them. We are only here for the aesthetic, okay? Usually, I plan out where things go, at least in my mind, and then I decide if I want to change it or not. But this month, I just chose the stationery that I wanted to use for each spread and went for it. On these cover spreads, I usually do the same layout, a cover page on the right and a calendar on the left, and then I just decorated with the stickers that I had. I first ripped the sticker paper that came with the bundle and I used some parts as the base of the decoration. And then I just chose a few stickers to make a scene on the center. I wrote the May title on the top of the page because I didn't really have any more space available for that, and since the decoration is quite heavy, I did a more loose hand lettering style to go with the theme. We are jumping to the left page where I'm making the calendar, and if you are new here, I use this calendar as a visual representation of my reading month. So basically I make a bar across the days that took me to finish a book, and it's color coded so I know which color represents which book. I don't take any information from it, it's just a fun way to see my month at a glance and see which book took me more days to finish. And I typically don't show you the parts where I erase the pencil marks, but this time I decided to make a subtle effect. I knew that these Stabilo fineliners take a little more to dry, so I took advantage of that and erased just after I did the lines to give this smudge effect that in my mind represents the heat of the fire, if that makes sense. It's really subtle, but it's there, and I think it's cool. You already have here a sneak peek of the book that I'm currently reading. It's the third book in the Ruinous Love trilogy, The Scythe and Sparrow. I'm just in beginning, so I can say anything, but we'll see. I really liked the first two books, so I'm hoping that I will like this one too. And after I sprinkle rose petals everywhere, the cover spread is done, and we're moving on to the first book spread that's going to be for The Sweetest Oblivion. I tried to match the spread decoration to the book cover, but purple together with blue and pink neon is a little bit out of my comfort zone. The color of this book cover is a little weird and difficult to match, and I'm more comfortable with beiges, browns, and golds. And besides that, I don't really have stationery that matches these colors, so this spread is a little bit of a mix of anything that I found that could match the colors and also the aesthetic of the story. So while you see me struggling with this spread, let's talk about the actual book. But before that, I just wanted to mention that I couldn't find the exact playing card that's on the book cover on the internet, so I decided to draw my own. Okay, now to the story. The book follows Elena Abeli, or the Sweet Abeli as she's known in the mafia world, and Nicolas Russo is the boss of the other mafia, and the two families arranged a marriage between Elena's sister and Nicolas. Now, they hate each other right at first encounter, but as the time goes on, Elena starts to see that Nicolas sees her as Elena and not just the sweet Abelie. I can say a lot more, otherwise, I'm going to spoil it, so let's just talk about my own thoughts. So, I actually didn't realize that the beginning of this book was going to be so similar to Ext, the book that I read in April. So, it was a little funny actually. But I think most problems in this book could have been solved right away just by talking. This had a little bit of that miscommunication trope that I don't really enjoy, but the story itself, it's fun and enjoyable. I was really invested because one of the problems is actually a mystery until the middle of the book, I would say. So until then, we don't really understand why Elena is acting that way and such. And the reveal was not that impactful, I guess, because I was expecting a different thing. But I'm not mad about it, I just wish it would be more. Nicholas was acting like a child in certain parts, which really annoyed me. Elena was smart in some parts and dumb in another, more towards the end of the book. But on a more happy note, I liked the overall dynamic between the two of them. The tension was really palpable, and I was expecting one of the plot twists, one that I really liked actually. This wasn't on my top, but it's a solid book. The story is really entertaining and it made me more curious about another couple, or should I say, future couple, which I'm more intrigued about their dynamic. I'm going to continue the series even though I didn't like anyone from Elena's family, and from Nicholas, I don't remember, but I don't think I liked them either. So I'm curious about the other mafias and some other characters that were part of this book. As you can see, I tried to recreate the lettering on the cover and I think it was a success. Of course, it doesn't have that impact as it would have if it was on a dark background, but it turned out okay. And as I said before, this color palette is not my comfort zone, so I did my best with what I had. For the quotes, I chose two of them. Elena Abeli was my vice, and F it if I'd let it kill me. And the other is Nico didn't treat me like less. He shattered the reflection of an empty life staring back at me. He taught me how to soar. Which these two quotes relate to what I said before, that Nico saw Elena as herself and not just her nickname. And I know I said her name in 12 different pronunciations, so I'm sorry to all the Elenas out there. It's a little difficult for me because we have a similar name in Portuguese, but it's said as Ileana. And finally, for the star rating, I gave the plot, the enjoyment, the artistry, and the characters a 4, and the heart a 3.5, which means the total is 19.5, so 3.9 stars, which I rounded to a 4 star. This next spread is going to be divided, so the left page is for Fire a Little Thing and the right is for My Brutal Beast. These two books had the worst rating this month, so I didn't want to make an entire spread just for them, so one page is fine. Let's talk about Fire a Little Thing first. The story follows Blaze. She's a kleptomaniac. For those who don't know, she steals compulsively. Her parents are drug addicts and she also consumes. Also, she's still in school. I think she's 17 in the beginning of the book, I think, and she hates Cohen. Cohen is a pyromaniac, so he likes to set things on fire, and is also rich. The thing is, Cohen actually likes Blaze since they are like 8, but he doesn't really know how to process the feelings and convey them to her. And one day he sets her house on fire, so she goes into his home and destroys everything. Then she's sent to a reform school that is not that better. This thing of the house on fire has more to it, but I didn't like neither of the characters. I understood Blaze and why she acted and her attitude, but Cohen doesn't understand that she can't just guess that he likes her, of course. So if you say and do a bunch of hurtful things to her, she's not going to think that you like her. On the contrary, that's why she hated Cohen. And then the book took a very dark turn, which I don't think it was the best way to resolve things. Look, I adore dark romance, but some things are a bit weird when they feel out of place. In this case was murder. I'm not saying anything else, but I just don't think the story should have gone that way. And then some things were resolved too quickly with no consequences, which is a little bit unrealistic. And I get it, I don't expect a fiction book to be totally realistic, but at least just a little bit. Besides the two main characters, I hated everyone else, her friends, his family, the school staff. They were all horrible. And of course, you already know, but this book has some trigger warnings. And the drugs and the impulse control disorders are really heavy on this one, so be aware. I didn't like the font on the book cover, so I did my own with a little gradient, which is something that I used to do in some of my old spreads, and I loved doing them. If you're interested in seeing my old book spreads and also my anime journal and things like that I never published before in this channel, keep an eye out for that because it's coming soon, so subscribe and click the bell. Gradients are one of those things that I love doing. It creates more dimension and it brings more attention to the page. Then I completely forgot about the quotes, so we are not doing them on this one. For the ratings, I gave the plot a 3.5, the enjoyment a 3.5 as well, the artistry and the characters a 3, and the heart a 3.5, which gives in total a 16.5, so it's a 3.3 stars rounded to a 3-star rating. Let's move on to the next page and book, My Brutal Beast. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but honestly, I didn't get that vibe at all. The story follows Cassandra. She's really hardworking and beautiful, but she doesn't have true friends. They just take advantage of her. And in one of those nights, what seems to be a friendly conversation turns into a nightmare. And she thinks nobody is coming to save her, no one cares, until she's saved. Not by a person, but by a monster, which is claiming her as his. And her reality changes from a mundane life to a dream in just a night, living in a castle, getting everything she wants, and above all, someone that truly cares for her. So, my favorite princess is Belle, I love her, and this book could have been amazing if it was longer. It's a very short novella, as I said before, and it was enjoyable, but I think after the incident it moved too fast. I didn't really see the connection between Cassandra and Raven, the monster. Also, the beast is completely different from the actual Disney story. He's really sweet and I like him, but again, I think some things should have been explained a little bit more. I understood them, but it was lacking the connection between them because of that. And moving too fast took me out of the story because I was like, okay, how did we get here? Or, okay, we are now on another stage of the story. And in the end, it continues to another book. The main story for me is finished, so I'm not going to read the next one. As you can see, I started lettering on the journal, but I didn't like it, so I did it again on my sticker paper and then I put it on top of the mistake. I recreated the font on the cover because one thing I love about this book is the cover. I think it's really beautiful and I only changed the word brutal to my regular lettering style. The decorations took a large part of the page, so I didn't have a space to put a quote, so I guess this entire spread doesn't need quotes. For the ratings, I gave the plot a 3.5, the enjoyment a 4, the artistry a 3, the characters a 4, and the heart a 3.5. So in total 18, which means 3.6 stars rounded to a 3.5 star rating. Even though this novella is very short, I still enjoyed it more than Fire Little Thing because of the characters. Before we do the final flip through, we are moving back to the beginning of the journal to complete the spreads that needed the ratings of the books. It's time for the final flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give a like, subscribe, and click the bell to receive notifications. And comment down below a fire emoji to let me know you watched it till the end. This month wasn't great, in books nor in spreads, but it's okay. I'm hoping that June is better for my reads, so let's see how it goes next month. I think this month on my reading journal actually represented the weather here in Portugal. It has been really hot, so it kinda worked out that way. I hope you have a lovely day or night, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!